Final Fantasy. Finally got myself looking at these new trailers coming out. For those of you that haven't been paying attention to the channel long, you know that I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan. I've been around the brand for a long time. And I kind of fell off the past couple installments, but it's one thing that's always kept me on the PlayStation brand to some degree. You know, I might have an Xbox right here, but I got a PlayStation 2 just to play Final Fantasy. There's another few things on there like God of War, but for the most part, that's the real reason I buy PlayStations. But anyway, let's talk about Final Fantasy 16. I, for one, still open to criticism when it comes to that game. I still like things I see and I don't like things I see. But when I'm looking at this huge display, this trailer that they played yesterday, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, you know, regardless how I feel about Final Fantasy 16, regardless what goes on with 16, I know one thing for a fact. It's not on Xbox. And I think that's the biggest, thing I'm going to talk about today is I feel like Microsoft and Xbox don't have that huge captivating title that's only on their platform that's a JRPG. Sure, they bring stuff to Game Pass, and I think they're doing a lot better in terms of having those relationships with Game Pass, but I don't think they've done a good job on nurturing and making sure stuff is on for their platform. You know, sometimes when you go to these Japanese developers and you pour the type of money that's required to get these games exclusive, I feel like it makes them take you more seriously to a point. Am I saying to go out there and spend like mad amounts of money? No. But I do think that, when Persona 6 comes out, if Microsoft dropped the bag and made that an exclusive and, really celebrated JRPGs on their platform, it would go a long way. Now, let's talk about if they don't go out there and get a timed exclusive. People have been coming to me and they saying, Addict, Microsoft doesn't play those games anymore. They nurture their own studios and they build it from the ground up and make their own games now. They're not in the timed exclusive deals anymore. They're mainly focusing on their first party. Okay. So I think they need to go out there and buy a form of a JRPG franchise. A studio to make it. I think Sega's the perfect studio. Like I said, you got the Persona, the Yakuzas. There's a lot of gems there that they can really use to captivate and elevate Xbox is in general when it comes to the Japanese area. Well, Asian culture in general. And I think that's the biggest thing that's missing here. You could say what you want about PlayStation, but they go above and beyond to make sure that their games is the best place to play a lot of these platforms. Nintendo Switch, same thing. They go out there, they spend money on timed exclusives like Triangle Strategy. They did it with the first Octopath Traveler. There's a lot of games, Bravery Default, that Nintendo goes out there and they make sure they have timed exclusives to show we take this genre seriously. But who can really say that about Xbox? In the 360 generation, I feel like they had a pretty good sense of Japanese JRPGs in general. But I feel like in the Xbox One and maybe at the end of the 360 era, that mindset completely lost focus on what was important. I get it. Phil Spencer goes over there and he has conversations, and you can argue that he has done more than even the 360 era did, where bringing games like Persona to the platform, bringing the Yakuza games back to the platform. He did bring a sizable amount of Final Fantasies that was never seen on an Xbox ecosystem. But what I will say is you can bring all those platforms and that's cool, but you need your own stuff. You need stuff that you can claim is you can only be on this platform to play. You need to force some Japanese role-playing fan bases and some of the Western culture that loves these games, such as myself, to pick a system and play it on that system. Sure, they might have multiple platforms, but they have to buy this console or have a PC to own this system, because we know the majority of Xbox games have been coming to PC as well. And I think that's the biggest thing. Microsoft needs to do a lot better job on reaching out to these publishers and saying, yo, we only don't just want to bring your games to Game Pass. We actually want to nurture and we want to pretty much fund one of your games. Let's do some passion projects. Go over there to Platinum Games. I might not be the biggest fan of Platinum Games, But if you go over there and willing to, jumpstart another one of their passion projects and, you know, keep an eye on them. We know what happened to Scalebound. Obviously, keep an eye on them. Don't just go out there blindly giving your money away. But I feel like circulating some money through those ecosystems, through that genre, would be very beneficial to you. I think that's one of the reasons that Microsoft is falling behind in that area, because even though that they're doing better by bringing these games to the platform, especially in Game Pass day and date, no one looks at that, because you know what they're looking at? They're looking at Final Fantasy 16 as a day one exclusive on the PlayStation platform. They're looking at Final Fantasy 7 as a day one exclusive on the PlayStation platform. They're looking at Forspoken, even though I myself didn't think that game was all that. They're looking at games like that and saying this game is an exclusive on a PlayStation platform. And I think that goes a long way than just making sure a game comes to your platform. I feel like just making sure it comes to your platform is the bare minimum. Now, they do a little bit better than bare minimum because they get the games on Game Pass. And I think that's a very good way of introducing these type of games that don't normally sell a whole lot on your platform to a whole variety of audience. For instance, Persona 5 on Game Pass day and date when it comes out. Now when Persona 6 comes out, if it's on Xbox, even if it's not in Game Pass, you introduce 5 to a large more amount of people, and they're more obligated to buy a game in Game Pass now. They're more obligated to say, look, this might not be in Game Pass, but I enjoyed Persona 5. I really enjoyed that game, so I'm going to go out and play 6 because I'm not waiting, because that's how much I enjoyed 5. And I think that's one of the key things that they're going to have to do, which they've been doing. But now that you got these games into Game Pass, you've really pushed them. I think they have found a newer audience. We're not going to really know anything in that matter until we start seeing these games come to come to Xbox, not Game Pass, but come to Xbox day and date. We're not going to see if it's going to elevate to sales, because that's all these studios and developers and publishers, all they care about at the end of the day. They care about the bottom dollar. And I think that, like I said, the bare minimum is Xbox needs to get these games on their platform, and then we'll talk about a Game Pass. But I think the biggest thing they need to be focusing on is not only making sure these games come to their platform, but they're going to have to drop some money off. They're going to have to pull that truck back. They're going to have to say, yo, not only do we want your game on our platform, we want to invest into your studio and make sure this is on our platform, and maybe just a timed exclusive. I've always said on this channel, people act like timed exclusives don't matter. No, the right time exclusives matter. But anyway, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm very curious to hear you guys' opinion on this matter. And until next time, this is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace.